hours. He instituted protections for the meat industry, the meat packing industry, so that we could have better meat, and pharmaceuticals, regulations for the pharmaceutical companies. He also was controversial because he pressed the presidential limits to their maximum. He used an old law called the Antiquities Law, which is originally set aside to protect lands and make lands federal in areas where there were Native American antiquities and pottery in the Southwest. But Roosevelt chose to use this law to set aside millions of acres of ground for federal land. He thought that the rich people should not be the only ones who could go out and enjoy nature. So he set aside 235 million acres of federal land in his presidency, 5 new national parks, 18 new national monuments, and over 150 national forests. He was a great conservationist. But there's another reason that he's on this mountain, and that was because he helped develop our country as a great nation. And what did he do to help accomplish that? There was one big thing that he did. Who knows the answer to that?
He commissioned the Panama Canal.
Absolutely right. Roosevelt was the person responsible for getting the Panama Canal built. It was taken over originally by a French company, and they lost control of that. They went bankrupt, and Roosevelt finagled a deal in Central America, actually sort of started a little revolution down there to get this deal going. And the Panama Canal was not built and completed during his presidency. It was completed after. But make no mistake, President Roosevelt was the one who got the Panama Canal going. In fact, he went down there for a trip and visit the workers and everything. He was incredible about that. He knew that our Navy could not become strong, and that we could not become a strong Navy, a strong power in the world, if our own Navy had to sail around the tip of South America just to get to our own West Coast. So he wanted this Panama Canal to help make our country great. And another thing he did was he wanted to show off our Navy, and he made all the ships white, and he wanted to send them out into the world to boast our power. And it was called the Great White Fleet. And he wanted to send them out, but Congress didn't want them to go out because they didn't want to spend the money to go out. And just to show you how Teddy Roosevelt got things done, he said, okay, he sent the Navy out anyway on their way around the world. And then when they got out there, of course, they ran out of money. He said, okay, Congress, now you have to bring them back. This is one of the ways that Teddy Roosevelt worked. And I think, personally, I think he was a great choice to be on this mountain. And I think they did do a good thing. History did judge him as a great person. So we've learned the 4 reasons that these men were on the mountain. They represent the founding, the preservation, the expansion, and the growth of our nation. And we've seen, maybe could relate to, some of the struggles that they've had and some of the dreams that they've had to get on this mountain. This mountain was started in 1927, was finished in 1941. World War II came along. 5 weeks after this was finished, Pearl Harbor happened. Ironically enough, Borglum passed away 8 months before the end of this project. And his son, Lincoln Borglum, finished the project. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt at that time stopped funding because World War II was on the horizon in October. And Lincoln Borglum, fearing that somebody else might come along at a later date and try to improve upon the mountain or carve somebody else into it, signed a contract with Congress stating that the project was finished. And some years after the war, actually, Lincoln Borglum came back and wanted to finish the face of Lincoln, because on the right side of Lincoln you can see it's not quite finished. But Congress held up this contract and said, you've committed that this is a finished project. And so they didn't appropriate any more money. And as you see, it stands today in 1941 is how it stood when it was finished. So I wanted to leave you with a thought. It was a quote from Gutzon Borglum. I thought it was a rather